Hey guys, Miss Roachford here. Thanks for coming back. We are on part 3 of our read aloud of Because of Mr. Terupt by Rob Bouye. And again, you can buy it in any store, available online. But so far we have met all of our 7 main student characters, and we started even writing some notes about Mr. Terupt. So if you have your notes, go ahead and grab them and a clipboard, get in your cozy spot as we continue on our story. And again, we are back at Snow Hill School in Connecticut, and we are just starting October, so a brand new month. And we know as the school year goes, the school year is just getting started. Learning some really interesting things about some characters, some good, some not so good. And let's see what we learned. We are back to Peter. And another thing I love about this author is that he writes each person's name in a different way. It's another cool thing that might attribute to their personality. So it could be one more tool the author uses to change things up as he's writing. So back to Peter. All right, so let's remind ourselves, trying to be sneaky, get the whole bathroom joke stuff. Doesn't like school so far, but he had a good experience. Instead of getting in trouble with Mr. Terupt, he kind of joked about it in a way that kind of brought Peter around. So let's see what's happening now. I never ever had something in school excite me before. All right, well, that matches what we said so far. But the plant unit we did with Mr. T had me fired up. We grew these bean plants from seeds, and once they got big enough, we started doing different tests with them. Variables, Mr. T called them. First, we stuffed the plants in boxes with just a little tiny hole in the side, and we waited to see what the plants would do after a few days in the dark. Anna had a meltdown about it. Anna. Okay, quiet, doesn't want to be noticed. Mom is missing. Okay, I'm remembering who she is now. She had a meltdown about it. I don't want to put mine in a box, she cried. Mr. T had to take her out into the hall to calm her down. I was kind of shocked. Usually she doesn't say anything. What a weirdo, I thought. It's no wonder she doesn't have any friends. It's a good thing Danielle was her partner. She's the patient kind. All right, so Peter's saying Danielle is patient. Anyone else would have been fuming. My partner was Lexi, which is fine. She let me do what I wanted. Next, we put the plants on their side to see how they would grow. I couldn't believe it. The plants bent and still grew up toward the ceiling. That was pretty cool. But the best part was what we got to do in the end. Mr. T let us feed our plant any concoction we wanted to over the course of a week. Concoction is a big old word. Let's see if we can figure out from the context what it means. Feed our plant any concoction we wanted. I'm going to read on to see if it helps. There was just one rule. We couldn't use any ingredient that would spoil and stink up the classroom, like milk or something that wasn't good for us to breathe, like gas. Okay, so in that next sentence, there was just one rule. We couldn't use an ingredient. So I'm thinking a concoction would be a mixture of ingredients, because he's saying you can't use milk, gas, things that would stink up the room. So it sounds like concoction is the mix that's made from all the different ingredients that they use. And that's just using the words around it to help me solve what that big old word concoction means. There were some pretty wild concoctions. David and Nick used salad dressing because, according to them, plants make salad, so the plant will like the salad dressing. Brenda and Heather used orange juice mixed with ketchup and Pepto-Bismol. I don't know what they were thinking. Mine was the best, though. So Peter, all right, he's thinking his is the best. Here we go. We also know he's kind of a troublemaker. I brought in cat litter, used, soda, and a little maple syrup. I did my best to mix it together and feed it to my plant. Lexi wasn't real happy about my choice of ingredients. No kidding. I didn't tell her I had peed in my soda bottle some too. Again with this peeing. It keeps coming up with Peter. What's up with that? Peter, you moron. This stuff is going to kill our plant, she whined. Shut up. You never cared about the plant before, I said. Well, I care now, she said. Lexi, maple syrup comes from trees. I drink soda a lot, and I'm growing, and farmers put animal manure on their fields all the time. So zip it. It's going to work. Our plant was dead in 2 days. Danielle and Anna did the best. Danielle used some natural ingredients her grandmother had taught her about. All right, so Danielle doing the best at a plant project. Does that make sense? Yes. Look at her words. She's on a farm. She knows all about that stuff. I would want to be her partner too. But now I lost my plan. Danielle used some natural ingredients her grandmother had taught her about. Something the old-time farmers really did use, I guess. Danielle lives on a farm, so she had a big advantage. Her concoction worked. Big time. She and Anna were the only ones to come up with food that the plant liked. Anna was all smiles until Lexi said, you're just lucky Danielle was your partner. She did everything. Then Lexi turned to me and added, even if she is fat. I don't think anyone else heard, but I laughed. I know I probably shouldn't have. Anna's smile disappeared, and she stared at the floor. Poor old Luke sure tried. I think he put too much brain power in it. And he's got a lot of brain power. Luke, brain power, loves math games. Great at school. Yep, matches what we were thinking. See, I always lose my place. And he's got a lot of brain power. He's the smartest kid in school since kindergarten. His partner was Jeffrey, but he never does anything. He just let Luke take charge. Maybe he should have helped. I've brought in a number of different ingredients, Luke said, and they'll interact perfectly because of the electron balance and resulting bond formations. He even said something about a periodic table or some crazy thing. Well, you're never going to believe this, but Luke mixed his junk together and it started smoking. The next thing we knew, the stupid fire alarm was going off. The whole school had to go outside, and even the fire department showed up. It was great. Mr. T had to do some explaining, and after a while, we were let back inside, but Luke wasn't performing any more experiments for us. Man, things were just so much fun with Mr. T. All right, anything new learning there from this chapter? This is Peter. So a little bit more trouble, but nothing big that he did here. Anything big? More girl trouble. They're still kind of backstabbing, as we say. They're talking about each other. And Danielle's won. That makes sense with our thinking. Peter did say that Danielle was patient. I'm going to put that on Danielle's because I think that's a really good way to put it. Because she's been putting up with a lot of insults for a really long time for people that, would be considered her friends. And so it sounds like she's very patient. And to do the science work when her partners weren't really doing anything. Next we got Luke. Luke. Likes school, good at it, loves math. Okay, yep. We moved from cool math right into wicked science. The only thing I didn't like about our science unit was that we had to have partners. I prefer to do my projects alone, but Mr. Terupt teamed us up. We were working with plants, and he said he didn't have enough space for everyone to have their own. Jeffrey was my partner, which, believe it or not, worked out great because he let me do whatever I wanted. He didn't care. The only bad part was that he was always grumpy. Dollar word. Jeffrey, grumpy, yes. He wants to stay unknown, doesn't want to have to do anything with anybody. That makes sense. We studied phototropisms by observing how our plant grew toward light after we stuffed it into a box that had only a tiny hole in its side. Then we studied geotropism by observing how our plant grew toward the ceiling, even after we tipped the plant on its side for a few days. And then we were given the opportunity to study a variable on our own. Mr. Terupt told us to manipulate the plant's nourishment. Manipulate, just like you have manipulatives in math, things you can move around. So manipulate are things you can control. So Mr. Terupt told us to manipulate the plant's nourishment. Change it up on your own. Feed it whatever you want, he said. Make up your own concoctions. Jeffrey left me alone. He hated school and everything about it. That day I hurried home and studied my periodic table. I had received a special chemistry set last Christmas. Hydrogen and oxygen make a special bond when they come together to form water. So I figured I should try to recreate that special bond with whatever molecular, dollar word, ingredients I chose. I looked through the chemicals in my set and picked the ones that would result in the same type of electron balance that occurred in the hydrogen and oxygen bond. A lot of you are like, what's he saying? Right. I took my ingredients to school and got ready to measure and mix. Jeffrey was slightly interested at this point. Mr. Terupt, on the other hand, appeared a little uneasy about the whole thing, but he never stopped me. Luke, sometimes when you mix chemicals, it can cause a reaction, which then explodes, dollar word. I know, I said. Maybe we shouldn't mix these in the classroom without knowing what's going to happen, he said. It might not be safe. All these potions came from my chemistry set at home. My mom saw it. It's safe, I said, trying my best to convince Mr. Terupt. I didn't tell Mom or Mr. Terupt about the few ingredients I got from Dad's garage. I knew it would work. Hey guys, come and look at all the stuff Luke's mixing together, Chris yelled. I felt everyone gather behind me as I began mixing my substances together in a bowl. But before I could feed my plant, something happened. Yeah, we already know what happened. First, the bowl started feeling warmer, then hot. The potion turned dark green, then gray. It started bubbling, first slowly, then rapidly. If you don't know what rapidly means, you mean it's not slowly, so very fast. I knew that was bad. Back up! Everybody back up! Get away from it! Mr. Terupt ordered. Smoke started billowing from my concoction. Then the screech of the fire alarm pounded against my ears. The only other thing I heard was Peter laughing. This is awesome, he yelled. Way to go, Lukester! Outside! Everybody outside! Mr. Terupt ordered. I was done for. I was sure of it. Wrong again. Mr. Terupt spoke to Mrs. Williams and took the blame for everything. He even stood up to the fire marshal, who always walked through the building after an unannounced fire alarm. The marshal wanted our dollar word posters taken off the hallway walls. He claimed they were a fire hazard. Jeffrey thought this confrontation was a big deal. Did you see Terupt say no to that guy? He said. He refused to take our posters down. I saw, I said, and I saw flashbacks of smoke pouring out of the bowl. I knew I wasn't ever going to be a botanist, dollar word. At least Jeffrey had gotten excited about something. I wish Mr. Terupt hadn't trusted us so much. Maybe it was because he was a first-year teacher and didn't know better. But I don't think that was it. I think it was a case of Mr. Terupt being a special teacher. All right, so here we heard from two different points of view about Luke and his concoction. So I think it is important to know that that first of all, Jeffrey's really excited for the first time that this was happening. But then it says at least Jeffrey had gotten excited about something. So that was when he said, readers dig back in. Jeffrey thought this confrontation was a big deal. So they were talking about when the fire marshal comes through, and he was telling Mr. Terupt to take down all the posters in the hallway. Now, to the fire marshal, it's just a fire hazard, paper up, whatever. To Mr. Terupt, those were works that his students had done and put a lot of pride into and a lot of work behind it. So it was something that Mr. Terupt did. He stood up for the students and said he wasn't going to take those posters down. And Jeffrey got really excited about that. So Jeffrey noticed that Mr. Terupt had their back. or supported them. And so I'm going to notice that now. So got excited because this is huge for Jeffrey. Got excited when, I'm going to say Mr. T, if that's okay with everybody. You're very good, Mr. Terupt. I got excited when Mr. T, I'm going to say stood up to fire marshal to keep the work up. Because obviously he saw that Mr. T was fighting for him and fighting for his students. No, these are my students' work. I need them up. They show a lot of pride in this. And so that was huge, and that was the first time Jeffrey got excited, and Luke noticed that. And so Luke was also the one that he kind of wanted to avoid the trouble, but he also set off the fire alarm. Set off fire alarm. That's kind of a big event, and he felt really bad about it. We know he likes to avoid trouble. He avoids Peter and the troublemakers. But it was a big deal to him. He's like, oh, he's gonna kill me. And really, he took it really nicely, right? I set off the fire alarm with, I'm gonna say concoction. You can say science experiment. You can put it in your own words if you want. Concoction, CONCOCTION, concoction. So lots of things there, and we see a little bit more. Mr. Terupt, he kind of stood up for him, but he also let students, he didn't stop Luke when Luke wasn't sure what ingredients he had. So he was like, this could be bad, it might not be safe, but he also didn't stop him. And so that shows a level of trust for his students, but also a level of freedom that the students aren't used to. So that's a little bit more, so I'm gonna say to give students freedom. And so they're not quite sure. At the end, they kind of said, I don't know if it's just because he's new, he doesn't know better, if he's too nice. They're still trying to figure things out. So we're going to see. I'm going to read one more before we stop for now. Jeffrey. All right, so we just said he got super excited about it. Let's see. Luke was trying to feed our plant. So here you notice, same situation. We're hearing it from lots of different points of view, which is huge to learn about perspective, because we all might be involved in something and see it from different points of view. And that helps us all learn a little bit more about really seeking first to understand and seeing how others see it from different points of view. So this is huge. We're going to see this event from lots of different points of view. So let's see what Jeffrey has to say about it. Luke was trying to feed our plant. I saw the smoke rising. I knew what was going to happen. Terupt did too, because I saw him go to the windows right away. Not fast enough though. The alarm still went off. The whole school had to go outside because of Luke. When we came back in, some guy was walking down the hall with our janitors, Mr. Loomis and Mr. Ruddy. Terupt sent us into the classroom, but he stayed in the hall. I hid by the door to listen. All of it, the man yelled. I want all of it off the walls. He was pointing to our math posters. Mr. Loomis looked at Terupt. You heard him, he said. I'm not taking them down, Terupt said. Do you know who this is? Mr. Ruddy said. This is a fire marshal, Terupt said. I don't care who it is. I'm not taking them down. He looked at the fire marshal and said, you have no idea how hard my kids worked on these. He was pointing at our posters. He was pointing at my poster. It had one word on it, stupid. And it wasn't even a dollar word. All of a sudden, I felt bad because I hadn't tried on Terupt's project. There were some more words said, but then the fire marshal left. The poster stayed. I hoped he felt stupid. Terupt came back into the room. Peter was out of his seat. Mr. T, you just told that guy off, Peter said, dancing around. That was awesome. No, I didn't, Terupt said. Get in your seat. You shouldn't have seen that. And I saw it, and I heard it. Terupt stuck up for us. There's always posters up in the school halls, and they're never fire hazard. I think the fire marshal was just mad about our false alarm, and I think Terupt knew that too. He wasn't going to get pushed around. Our hard work mattered to Terupt, even mine. I owed him now. I had to try, if only for a little. All right, so again, we're seeing some changes in Jeffrey, because now he wants to try a little bit more and see, and kind of keep on trying. Now that he knows that he can trust Terupt a little bit more, he's going to keep on trucking. So we'll see what happens. This big event, again, from different points of view, and this is just getting bigger and bigger. Lots of stuff happening as we get to learn these characters. All right, so next time it starts off with Anna. We're going to see how she sees it and get some more perspective on the situation. So meet me back next time, guys. Miss you.